A Voyager spacecraft launched in 1977 is traveling to the edge of the universe with pictures and messages to let other worlds know who we are. The mission assumes there's life out there. Movies tell us the natives are sometimes friendly, sometimes a little too possessive. 50% of us, according to the latest polls, believe flying saucers have dropped in for a visit. 100,000 people claim to have been contacted by aliens. Rusty Hudson remembers a close encounter in 1980.
It had no ears. It was sort of a white, grayish-white, powdery-looking figure. The body, I didn't even look at it so much because I just kept staring at these incredible eyes.
This is one of the cases from their files that's considered.
Most startling of all, the Crusaders have learned for the first time from Russian intelligence files that Moscow has long believed in UFOs and feared they might trigger a nuclear war. Journalist George Knapp smuggled the files out of Russia and revealed them to us exclusively.
Colonel Sokolov told us that they recognized that UFOs were from somewhere else.
But what about our own government? In fact, U.S. intelligence agencies have been tracking UFOs for 50 years, like this one filmed over the California coast by an amateur photographer. We've discovered that secret U.S. files on UFOs run to thousands of pages. One document from our top spy agency, which we show here for the first time, is so highly classified, most of it had to be censored before being released to us. This means that the U.S. government sees UFOs as a vital national security concern. And yet, Congress was told by the Air Force last year there's no evidence that UFOs come from outer space or threaten U.S. security.
They have been clearly guilty of lying, is the simplest way I know how to put it.
Stanton Friedman is a nuclear physicist who now specializes in prying UFO secrets out of the government. He says, if there are no UFOs, then why all the secrecy about them?
If they are not a threat to national security, how can they possibly justify withholding all the information we can clearly prove that they've withheld?
That question is the focus of our crusade. In our effort to force the government into releasing its UFO secrets, we traveled first to the desert badlands of the Southwest. This is the Midway-Roswell area of New Mexico, birthplace of UFO fact and fantasy. Back in 1947, 2 UFOs supposedly crashed near here, igniting suspicion and speculation that are with us today. The summer of 1947 had seen a wave of UFO sightings worldwide, the first time anybody had kept track of them. Then suddenly, on the morning of July 8th, this headline sent shockwaves around the globe, based on a press release from Roswell Army Headquarters, home of the only U.S. atomic bomber wing.
In essence, it read something to the effect that we had in our possession a flying saucer.
Walter Haut, then an Army lieutenant, wrote the press release. It was picked up and repeated everywhere, letting the world know that debris from a UFO had been found by a rancher north of Roswell. It was the first documented UFO crash in human history. Intelligence officer Jesse Marcel, now dead, tried to bend parts of the wreckage with a sledgehammer.
The sledge bounced off of this little I-beam, not scratching it, bending it, or in any way having changed its physical appearance.
That ridge over there marks the spot where the UFO supposedly crashed back in 1947. A lot of time has passed, and there's no evidence on the ground that that actually occurred. In fact, all evidence was quickly removed by the military, and the public record rewritten the very next day on official orders.
The second press release, in essence, stated that we were mistaken, that this was not a flying saucer, but a weather balloon.
A weather balloon? Rumors later surfaced about a second UFO crash and the removal of dead aliens to Roswell Airport. Military officials supposedly brought alien bodies to this hangar right off the airstrip. The FBI wrote 2 vague reports about the incident, which we've obtained, but the government has released no other information on Roswell and says none exists. Congressman Steve Schiff of New Mexico thinks the government should fess up.
I cannot say that the Roswell incident was a cover-up, but I can certainly say that the government back then and today acted like it was a cover-up and has been subject to being accused of a cover-up.
Roswell, in fact, has become synonymous with official secrecy and the government's dismissive attitude towards UFOs. Ironically, though, right after the incident, the government began taking UFO sightings seriously.
They were concerned. Clearly, if somebody could penetrate our airspace, that's of concern.
In 1952, 1,500 UFO sightings were recorded around the world, including over the nation's capital. According to this secret document, the CIA feared widespread panic and called for a government effort to discredit UFO reports publicly so as to keep the nation calm. By 1969, the Air Force had completed what some critics saw as a cover-up for this purpose. It issued an unclassified report, Project Blue Book, saying there was no proof for alien UFOs and that all intelligence reporting on them would stop. It didn't. Sightings continued, sometimes over U.S. nuclear bases, as documented in these once secret files from the Strategic Air Command, known as SAC.
There are a number of reports that during the roughly 1975 wave at SAC bases across the country, that the aiming mechanism was found to be changed after the saucer had left.
To some, that raised the prospect of an accidental nuclear blast triggered by a UFO. No wonder government UFO reports remain classified. Our crusade to get to the truth took us next deep into the Nevada desert. This desolate highway leads to what some say is the ultimate UFO secret, a supposedly non-existent U.S. airbase called Dreamland, home of some of America's spy aircraft, like the SR-71. Until it was decommissioned a few years ago, it might have been mistaken for a UFO. Aircraft like it still fly out of the base. The final miles to Dreamland are over rough terrain. Off in the distance, strange dust devils pursue us. We stay on public property. Even so, armed patrols and unmarked vehicles come out to watch and to give chase at high speed.
Try to talk to him?
A road sensor hidden on public land is found by our guide, Glenn Campbell, an activist against government secrecy.
It lets them know when someone is approaching their border.
Well, it's quite clear. The government doesn't want someone to come here. This is a game of cat and mouse.
At one point, we turn the tables and chase our unidentified pursuers right to the edge of Dreamland. But the barriers go up. Once again, our search for the truth about UFOs is met with official resistance. Finally, we retreat to a distant ridge and get our first glimpse of the secret base, enhanced here with long-range photography.
I see a series of large hangars and radar installations along the dry lake bed.
Some UFO experts say captured alien spacecraft are stored here and used for testing purposes.
The largest of these hangars is about 60 feet high. It's referred to officially as Hangar 18, which indicates that someone has a sense of humor, because Hangar 18 was supposedly the place that the alien wreckage was brought to from the Roswell air crash.
Our guide, Glenn Campbell, thinks if UFOs are kept here, the government should level with us.
I don't see how any knowledge is going to really rock the foundations of humanity. The government is the employee of the people. It is not the manager of the people.